So how do we kind of dive into holiday preparation? And it's not even so much preparation, but it's having, again, awareness around what are we eating and how do we get ourselves through the holidays without having to go off the rails and off the deep end and feel horrible because we have to kind of push through it, or feeling like that person that's showing up to Aunt Betty's house with their own gluten-free pumpkin pie, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with doing that because I guarantee you Aunt Betty and everyone else will love the pie. I mean, Whole Foods even has, every year they have a cherry, apple, pumpkin, chocolate, gluten-free frozen pie that you can get. You know, I'm cooking this year, but again, I want to kind of talk about what it looks like for people to start to take a little bit of responsibility for your eating. You know, just take a little bit of responsibility. Don't put yourself in the mindset of, hey, it's the holidays. And I mean, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. You can imagine some of the lame excuses I've heard. And I've, again, myself as well, too. Like, hey, it's a holiday. But if you could just start to make some kind of change for the better and help reduce the level of inflammation in your body by what you're putting in, you're only helping yourself be healthy longer. I know it's so much about instant gratification in the moment, right? Just have a bite of this, have a bite of that, and you'll be okay. And people a lot of times aren't thinking about the long-term big picture, especially if they feel halfway decent. But for people that aren't feeling great and are kind of already thinking about these holidays and how they're going to figure out how to roll out Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and then, of course, resolutions start, and hopefully people aren't way off the deep end by that point. What do we do? So I wanted to go through some tips and some suggestions. And Janine, you can pipe in because you pulled the trigger on gluten. I know you're going to have your holidays gluten-free. You may have a bite of something because you already know that if you eat it, you already know how poorly you feel. So for the people that don't know that gluten is an issue, it might be worth trying some gluten-free things and seeing if you like them. That's the invitation to start doing that. For everybody else who knows that gluten is an issue, there's so many good gluten-free things out there. It's worth trying to figure out if you can make gluten-free things. So everyone tells me, you know, Thanksgiving is so hard because everything's full of gluten. Well, it's really not. The only thing that's gluten is stuffing. That's it.
Right.
Sweet potato casserole, you know, turkey, vegetables, I mean, all the stuff that's.
And if you make the stuffing with gluten-free bread, no one's going to know that it was gluten-free bread in the stuffing.
No one's going to know or really care.
Exactly.
So,
make gluten, and you don't have to tell anybody. Just be like, this is super healthy. Because if I say this is healthy or gluten-free, people don't want to eat it. But if you don't tell them that it's healthy,
that's what that's what I tell my parents who are working with their kids, you know, and they're like, I don't tell little Tommy that, hey, try this gluten-free bread. Just be like, oh, here you go. And then they don't even know. And they're like, yummy. I have story after story of people telling me from family members saying they tried something that was gluten-free. The minute the family member told them it was gluten-free, they're like, oh, I don't like it.
Yep.
Like, you just said you liked it a minute ago. I changed my mind. Really? Okay. Fine.
So true. And it's so many things are gluten-free that people don't realize, like potatoes, rice, like there's so many things. Like you can have mashed potatoes.
Yes.
And, you know, have like a nice flavored basmati or jasmine rice as a side and be flavorful. You don't have to sacrifice taste just because it's healthier.
And that's the thing is this: people think they're sacrificing taste, or they think they're missing something. I had a friend tell me once that her boyfriend said, I need to have gluten in my life. I was like, why does he feel he needs to have gluten in his life? He doesn't really even know like what it is, but it's a mental thing that something's being taken away from you, and it's not. So, you know, you and I have soapboxed about gluten almost every episode, but I really want to talk too about more preparation with sugar cravings, what to do around when you're wanting something sweet. So if you are in the unfortunate situation of having trick-or-treaters, we'll go back to Halloween, and having the candy in the house, hide it. Allow yourself maybe just, you know, one piece or something and see if you can have some fruit with it. You know, maybe if you have a Reese's peanut butter cup, peanut butter and apples is a thing, right? So why not have a Reese's peanut butter cup with an apple to get yourself that fiber so that you're more full instead of having 4 Reese's pieces, Reese's peanut butter cups, right? Or like maybe a banana, or something. You can make you could even do like if you're gonna do Snickers, which again we talked about last episode with the bioengineered ingredients in Snickers. If you end up falling privy to one accidentally falling in your mouth, whoops, cut a half of a green apple and you've got like a caramel Snickers apple there. Or get something healthy, or make a caramel apple. Get some good caramel sauce and some they make I think it's the Enjoy Life company that makes like a non-allergen chocolate chunks and chocolate chips, and you can kind of roll it in there and give yourself something that's less chemical. Start thinking in terms of less chemicals in the body. I think that's probably a good place for people to start. So what's wrong with the Snickers? Bioengineered ingredients. Can you make something that's similar to that? Sure, you can get some almonds or some nuts and some caramel and some of those, like I said, Enjoy Life chips. And
I think that's a great idea, Renee. And I also think like if people are worried and they are trick-or-treating, buy what you would feel that you're okay eating. So mixed bags of the little nuts, like if you have that and you're giving that out to the kids, they're not giving you candy, you're giving them that. So you don't have to you don't have to keep that in your house because you're only giving, or my favorite snack in the world, you're going to make a face, but honestly, it's gotten me through everything, is a Slim Jim or some beef jerky, because it's
perfect.
like, because it's,
whoops, I think we froze.
Here we are.
There you are.
Here I am.
So we were talking about Slim Jims and beef jerkies.
Yes, Slim Jims and beef jerkies.
And those are fine. I mean, if you can get a cleanish one, the gas station ones have a lot of chemicals in them too. But
true.
Nick's Sticks, or they've got those Chomps bars. What's the other one I always see? Paleo Valley. There's 10,000 clean sources of a Slim Jim or a beef stick.
And they're healthier than, they come in their own little individual packs. You can hand those out. It's a healthier snack. Obviously, it's kind of hard to give fruit and vegetables when you're trick-or-treating to kids.
Yeah, these days.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. But
right.
As long as it's packaged, it's probably the safe thing. But also,
I was going to say, remember, hold your thought. Whole Foods, I was just talking about this with my holistic dentist because her daughter's loves the sour stuff. Whole Foods has that line of Good Earth, and they make the gummies, and they make M&Ms that are, the coating on them is from beets and from fruits and vegetables, and it's like a Skittle coating, but it's made from fruit and vegetables. So Yum Earth, Yumearth. I'll bet people can order that from Amazon. I always do see it at Whole Foods. Woodman's has some of it too, but they've got the healthier versions of the crappy candy. So if you get that stuff in your house, get the good stuff. Get the Yum Earth stuff that's clean.
That sounds like a really good idea. And when you were talking about that, it also made me think of dried fruit. Like, even though it's got some sugar content, if it's dehydrated fruit, at least you're eating a dehydrated apricot. It's still healthier than a Snickers bar, right?
Well, that's for sure. And I think there's a lot of those, again, I always talk about Whole Foods. Some of those companies make those little packages of fruit. There's the fruit roll-ups too.
Oh yeah, the organic ones that don't have all the chemicals.
Fruit roll-ups. And they're mostly gluten-free. I know the ones in Whole Foods are gluten-free. That's a lot better. Fruit leather, like a grapefruit leather, it's a lot of sugar, but kids got to have something.
Again, it's better than genetically modified chemicals.
That's it. So start thinking, guys, in terms of putting the healthier stuff, in the house for not only just Halloween, but when you need a little something, there's that. There's also, again, if anything that you're eating has more than 6 or 7 ingredients on the box, steer clear, run. You want stuff that's closest to nature. So like those fruit roll-ups, I think they only have like 4 ingredients: the fruit, water, a little sugar, something else in there, like just citric acid or something to stabilize it. But yeah, start watching and paying attention to the ingredients. Janine, you've seen the boxes of stuff that have like 12 to 20 ingredients on them and you can't pronounce half of them. That's another sign that if you can't pronounce it, you probably shouldn't be eating it.
So true. And hold on, can you hear me?
Yeah,
At least I'm here. At least I'm here.
it's okay.
Sight unseen, but here I'm here.
Okay, there you are.
I have no idea what's going on, but anyway. Okay, I'm here.
That's okay. So if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. That's where we were.
Yeah, you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. And also, those are great things to just keep in if you're a woman, or even if you're not, if you're a man and you want to bring a bag and put it in your car. But if you're hungry, bring something with you. Don't make it an excuse. Oh, they didn't have anything I could eat. Well, they're not responsible for you and your health. You're responsible for your health, right? So if you want like a healthy snack, you have to bring that snack. No one's going to bring it for you.
I would bring it for you.
Well, you and I would be courteous to that because we are on that path. But right. A lot of times people make the mistake, because when I worked in weight loss, they always used to say obesity is a disease of procrastination. And honestly, it is. And it's a way for people to make excuses, unfortunately, of why they can't do well over the holidays. And people are terrified of this time of year if they're overweight.
Well, I mean, they are. And then, this kind of ties into what we talked about last week about taking little teeny tiny steps just to try to help yourself and not having to feel like you have to do everything all at once, which cripples you and you become a deer in headlights and then you do nothing, right? Because you say, screw it, I can't. No, take a tiny little bit of something, do something different for 30 days. And if you only do it for 10 days and you fall off, do it then again for another 20, and then you've done your 30. Nobody's keeping score. Nobody's holding a gun to your head. This is about taking a little bit of responsibility for yourself so that you can better your health and avoid hospitals, ERs, doctors. I'm not saying that we don't need doctors, because we certainly do, but we don't want to have to go, right? Because there's something wrong. We want to use them for maintenance and our checkups, for that type of thing, right?
I agree. The less I have to go to a doctor because I'm symptomatic of something, the better. Right. It's one thing to go for your annual checkup and be excited because you haven't had to go the entire year, and that's exciting. It's like,
yes,
well, that's a doctor's dream. If
a good doctor.
A good doctor, yeah, a good doctor.
And it's funny that you say that, because like my little puppy, who's going to be 3, puppies get all kinds of stuff. They get, kennel cough and all that stuff. And he got all the puppy stuff. And me, I cook for him and he eats pretty clean. And even though he had bladder infections and coccidity and all the stuff as a young guy, I have him on his probiotics. He's on clean food. He gets part of our smoothie every day, whatever. He hasn't had anything wrong with him in a year and a half, and nothing. I mean, he gets a little hound tummy, right? Because hounds have sensitive stomachs. So if I give him, some kind of weird animal thing that I buy that grosses Mark out, like I have dehydrated chicken feet, and he's like, oh, get that out of here. I'm like, gladly give it to the dog.
That's hilarious. Dehydrated chicken feet. I bet he loves it.
Feet. I've got little chicken hearts. I've got buffalo lungs in the house. Yeah, I got all kinds of stuff for the dog.
That's amazing.
He's a lucky boy. But my point is, he's not eating Snickers. Clearly, I wouldn't let him. Dogs can't have chocolate. But because his diet is pretty good, he doesn't get really sick. He doesn't have immune issues. He doesn't get kennel cough again. And he's around a lot of dogs. He goes to a daycare and he's pretty healthy. So, he doesn't have a choice, right? He eats what we give him. But for us, it's the same thing. We really need to start paying attention to what we want for our future, health-wise. Do we want to lose time with our family because we're sick and we can't go somewhere? I mean, these are definitely things to think about. So again, I'm here to answer questions. I love questions. You guys can email me. You can reach me at thetummywhisperer.com. Happy to answer questions and give people a sort of starting set point and put them on a path to better health. As we're talking about holidays, whether you're hosting or you're going somewhere, if you are going to go somewhere, bring a dish, bring something that you can share that may be healthy. Even a one-pot meal. You familiar with the term one-pot meal, where you just throw the meat, you throw the rice, you throw the veggies, you got the grains in there, you got a full soup, a stew. Bring it. Bring that, and maybe that's your meal. You have some turkey, you have some sides, you bring a little sweets to share. Be creative. I've got a lot of my clients who do like to bake and they like to cook. Not the majority, but some can really throw it out in the kitchen, and they'll grab the King Arthur's gluten-free flour or coconut flour and make cookies. Like even for my Frisbee League is so amazing. My birthday was early October, and Alex brought me some gluten-free pumpkin muffins that were so good. She said they were really easy to make. She used the coconut flour, almond flour, egg, I think a few other, the pumpkin, cinnamon. They were delicious. And, it's so easy. It didn't take her long. It was so nice of them to do that for me. And, it's easy to do. That's what I'm saying. It's easy to do. If you want to make it decadent, throw some frosting on there, get some frosting, make your own frosting and do it like a chocolate pumpkin muffin or something. Does that sound good?
It sounds great. And I've done every diet out there, but not that this is, they call it, like a fat bomb or a keto bomb, but it's, healthier because you're using real ingredients. Like maybe you go to Whole Foods and you get peanut butter that you grind, that it's just the actual peanuts,
and not with the oil, right?
And not with the oil and stuff like that. And then you can make your own, fat bombs that you put in the freezer and things along that nature. That's healthier, a sweet or an alternative that you can bring.
Yes.
Than something,
I've got a recipe from a coach of mine for it is a carnivore cheesecake. And it's so, I'll send you the recipe. It's eggs and heavy whipping cream and maple syrup and farmer's cheese, and like, I haven't made it, but I think I want to. But it's just, she said her and her husband, she made the mistake of making it. And they were each going to have, like, they had a piece, and they're like, okay, one more piece. And the pieces were slivers. Well, that's where you fuck up. Don't cut yourself a sliver, guys, because you think you're doing yourself a justice. Cut yourself a honking piece, eat it, and be done. Well, anyway, their pieces turned into the whole cheesecake. It's not a big one. It's, but they were both pretty sick the next day, but they couldn't stop.
So yummy. Now cheesecake is a weakness of mine since I haven't been doing dairy. Yes. I wonder what alternatives there are.
Well, the farmer's cheese is supposed to be okay. I don't know. I'll ask her about it next time I talk to her. But there's a lot of things that you can do that are really delicious. And gosh, you can just Google anything in terms of how to make a sweet treat, a cookie, a muffin, a soup, if you're like gluten-free soups, gluten-free casseroles, noodles. There's just so many things that you can do. It's endless. And,
that sounds like a great, you can do a vegetable casserole with like gluten-free noodles and make there's so many different recipes that you could make that are super healthy that you don't have to tell anybody.
You just go up and people start eating it and they're like, oh, that's gluten-free, by the way, but it's all gone. That was really good. My favorite gluten-free noodle is I might have mentioned this, Andean. It's the company Andine. I always find them, they're the spiral, like the rotinis.
Yes.
Find those at Whole Foods all the time, and they cook up really nice. It's quinoa and rice noodle together, and it's fluffy. Some of the gluten-free pastas can be a little like it's missing something.
Al dente.
Or not. Well, maybe not even chewy, just kind of like something's missing, and it is the gluten. So, but the Andine is really, really good. But yeah, getting creative, guys, with just looking up a dish or something and trying it in the kitchen. I mean, you're already making stuff to eat anyway at home. And if you're not really much of a cook, there's still things you can do. You can buy a box of vegetable broth, right? Pour it in the pot, throw some carrots and celery and onion and chicken breasts in there, and you've got soup. I mean, done. Easy,
Done.
right? And if you want to throw some noodles in there, you can have a vegetable chicken. I mean, if you want to make it vegan, you can. If you want to throw meat in there, you can. If you want to throw extra vegetables in there, you can. I mean, there's so many things that you can do depending on what you like. And I just think if people start to even just step into, thinking about a different way to do something, I think that their health will definitely pay them back in spades by having less inflammatory things in their body.
And
So,
they have to want, it's got to be a mental, they have to think of it more of, this is something I have to do my whole life, not something like, if you think of it as a diet, you're always going to fail because it's always going to sound restricted.
exactly.
By all means, if you want to eat something, then eat it. We always used to say in weight loss, when I worked in weight loss, like the 2-bite rule is still better than not tasting something. And 2 bites of something is less likely to do, if you have a bite of lasagna, for example, it's healthier than like a piece. So like, don't guilt and don't shame yourself if you do eat something. Just
Right.
And then we also have tips. Like we also used to have tips to our members that were trying to lose weight. That would be things like, it's only one meal, meaning like people say the holidays. Well, it's really only 2 holidays. It's one Thanksgiving meal and Christmas meal and maybe, Rosh Hashanah.
Yes.
Or something, but
Yep.
really, and New Year's, but that's 4 meals. Okay. Normal people eat 2 to 3 to 4 meals a day.
A day.
So
right.
4
right.
meals in a span of like 3 months should
Yes.
really not be a problem, nor is it an excuse to go and eat a smorgasbord like Templeton in Charlotte's Web.
Oh, Templeton.
So
I gotta
cute.
watch that movie. Yeah. Oh,
I love
but
Templeton.
I know, but that's a great reminder though for all of us too, is that you don't have to make this a big effort, but you do have to make some effort, do a little something and get out of your headspace that, I'm not falling into that gluten-free lifestyle because it's annoying. It's this, it's that. It's full of shit. Like whatever people think about it, they certainly can. And yes, some people can absolutely tolerate it without an issue. But, when your body starts showing symptoms like diarrhea, hives, rashes, poor sleep, bloating, constipation, blood pressure dysregulation, headaches, vertigo, nausea, vomiting. Should I continue?
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's time to take a check-in and be like, I wonder if what I'm eating could be causing some of my weirdo symptoms. And the answer always is yes. The body, I kind of laugh. I don't mean to laugh because I live in it, but autoimmunity, where the immune system attacks itself. That is a false, wrong way to think about autoimmunity because the immune system doesn't attack itself. The immune system goes after food, right? And maybe viruses and infections and food. Guess what gluten is grown on? It's grown on the streptococcus virus, right? So when you eat it, your body thinks, whoa, we gotta go after this. Incoming, right? Here's the enemy. Start thinking in terms of what you're putting into your body so that your body doesn't have to react in this kind of response against food, which should nourish us and help give us energy and help fuel us and help keep us strong and healthy for a really long time. Right?
That's so true, Renee. It's
with
so true.
with also having some sweets, I mean, your sweets don't have to be 10,000 grams of sugar. Like I said, you can have a half of a Granny Smith apple, you can have roll it in a little, some of those chocolate chips I was mentioning earlier, and spread a little sunflower seed butter on there, and you are good to go. I mean, that is going to satisfy anybody's sweet craving. You got the crunch of the apple, you got the tart of the Granny Smith, you got the sweet of the chip, and you got the fat of the sunflower seed butter. You've got every group in there, crunchy, salty. You can even, if you like, you can put a little salt on there if you're a sweet, salty person too. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. So I want to invite everybody for this upcoming holiday season to slow down, take a deep breath, think about what you want, right? For yourself, for your health, for your family, for your kids, for your pets, and take a little action. And please don't be shy, guys. Reach out. Again, you can find me at thetummywhisperer.com. I'm here with Janine every other Tuesday at 1:30 Central Time, and always excited to share what I know with people. And if anything that I said helps somebody along the way on their health journey, then I'm excited.
I love that. You did a great job, Renee. This was such an informative episode that I truly believe will help people.
Thank you. And that's what I want. I want people to just get the help and not feel afraid that they're not going to be able to do all of it, because it's, health is always an ongoing project. Nobody says, there's not like an on-off switch with your health. You have to kind of step in and do some things, and then you take a break and see how your body is when you take a break, and know what your threshold is, and learn how to give your body longer, bigger windows of threshold that you can tolerate more things by being, inviting the good stuff in. And I'm not just talking what you're putting in your mouth. It really, digestion starts with the brain. It starts with meal prep, right? It starts with how are you preparing? What are you thinking about for dinner? What are you going to have for breakfast the next day? Get a little bit prepared and start that digestion process in the emotional part of your brain, so that you can get a little bit prepared. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard. So take a moment to prepare, make some time, and again, reach out if you have any questions whatsoever.
I love it. Thanks so much, Renee.
Of course. Of course. We'll see you in 2 weeks.